We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bring news just for you. It's Friday, April 18th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin, and you're watching News Generation. Joining us today is Lee Won-bin.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Park Hyun.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. So we're going to move on to our main discussion of the day. Friday is when we end the week with topics gaining traction among young people around the world. Here's a quick question for our viewers. Have you ever hesitated before heading to the airport because of the massive crowds? Well, in Korea, this concern is growing not just because of the surge in travelers during the holiday season, but because of the unique role airports play when it comes to public figures, especially celebrities. So today we're going to look in and discuss about that. So Won-bin, could you start us off by bringing us up to speed? Why did this debate surge here in Korea recently?
Absolutely, I can. So for the past decade, as K-pop idols and Korean actors gain more global recognition, we're seeing a growing number of celebrities becoming brand ambassadors for designer brands and even luxury labels. And this means that they're not just flying out for concerts or only fan events, but also for major international fashion weeks or festivals. And this, which obviously leads to a higher frequency of celebrities going through the airport. And at first, when you hear this probably doesn't sound like a big deal at all. However, this is becoming a growing concern because of one culture in Korea. In Korea, there's a culture where fans try to see celebrities in person at the airport, which means that it causes an abnormal number of visitors at the airport, especially for a short amount of time at a very specific location.
Right.
And as fans and media gather in large numbers, airport security teams often block or even restrict certain routes or areas to protect the stars. And this did cause a growing frustration among people, with some people criticizing the inconvenience that is caused to regular passengers. And to give an illustration of how heated this topic is right now, recently there was a viral video of an airport user shouting furiously, and when I say furiously, I mean like really furiously, after being stopped or restricted by the guards. And this did spark an online debate about whether this is fair or not.
And one incident I remember recently was a K-pop group. So there was a debate and controversy following very high security staff and presence. And after that, when they came back to Korea, I think the level or the security presence was quite reduced, which really showed how big of a controversy it has become. So
Absolutely.
This is definitely a big news here in the cultural scene in Korea, but we're going to first zoom in on how airports in Korea have become much more than just transportation hubs, which is the main reason why we are seeing this controversy unravel here, because they're now sort of unofficial red carpets. So, Hyun, I want to ask you, what's fueling this phenomenon of celebrity fan gatherings at airports? Why are we seeing this growing and growing even more?
So since I think 2010, when the term airport fashion or
Right.
공항 fashion in
Oh,
Korean,
it's
공항 fashion.
2010, that's when it started.
Yeah, how old were you back then?
Elementary still.
Anyway, when it first emerged in Korea, the outfits the celebrities wore at arrivals and departure gates have consistently drawn public attention. Stars were often seen in their casual outfits that garnered more interest from the fans, and they started to follow their styles, dubbed 공항 fashion. And like these items will get sold out immediately. And in fact, airport fashion has become so popular that it's actually considered a driver of new Hallyu content
Right.
and Korean wave popularity. And so fans become more enthusiastic because it feels like they can actually see the stars' real selves.
And up close, right?
Up close, of course, not in their formal curated appearances like you see on the screen right now. Is that BTS feet? No. Anyway, he looks like a pretty cool celebrity in his casual outfit. Furthermore, it also offers a glimpse of each celebrity's personal fashion sense as well.
Right.
So naturally, this creates like a display effect. So brands actively use airport fashion in their marketing as well. And celebrities in turn use these kind of appearances to shape their shape and reinforce their public image.
Right.
And of course, it attracts more love from their beloved fans.
And I heard that airport fashion has become so big these days that some celebrities choose what to wear when they are getting photographed at the airport, and then after the photo shoot and everything is done, they get
to a
changed
more
to comfortable clothes,
exactly,
which is a really interesting phenomenon. Now, as you've seen on the screen, we are seeing massive turnouts of crowds when it comes to celebrities entering airports, so it's no surprise that concerns, especially regarding safety, are rising. So, Wonbin, what kind of risks can really come out of treating an airport as a stage?
So in this case, when large crowds gather, such as fans, passengers who have similar flight schedules or flight time as the celebrity or the star often experience, if not will experience, major inconveniences.
Of course.
And in some cases, they even worry about missing their flight, which is basically the worst case scenario. Like people who go to the airport, like they're all excited to go abroad, and if you miss the flight, it's the biggest bummer that you can have.
Of course.
And beyond the inconvenience, there are growing concerns about safety as well. Not only can fans get hurt in the chaos, but sometimes the celebrities themselves can get injured as well. And it's also very important to note that in Korea, international airports area are classified as Class Ka, national security facilities.
What is that?
So Ka means A in English. It's the first character of Korean. So it's basically like Class ABC, and it's A. So meaning that they are crucial for national safety. If fan crowds stop airports from operating as normal, it could become a serious security threat or even a good gap for crimes to occur. And on top of that, this isn't just an issue in Korea. In one case at a foreign airport, a fan was arrested for hitting an employee after being stopped for filming in a no-camera zone while trying to take a photo of their favorite star.
No wonder a lot of people are sounding the alarm, because we are already seeing airports crowded, especially during times when many people travel. But with more fans gathering at the airports, they can get even dangerous.
Yes, it's so big that it's very noticeable. Sometimes when I come back to Korea from Canada, I sometimes see like a group of people just waiting outside, and I was just curious. They had these big cameras. So I asked them like, what
are you waiting for?
Were you waiting for me?
And they're like, oh, so I was like, oh, so they were like, oh, I'm waiting for someone. And then I was like, wow, that's a lot of people. And like when a big van arrived, everybody just rushed there. So I was like, wow, that could be dangerous. So, yeah.
And Wonbin, you just told me that you have experience witnessing this large crowd gathering when celebrities are at the airport. So I kind of want to ask your personal, where do you stand on this issue? What do you think?
Okay. Again, I'm very careful, but if I had to choose, I would stand a little bit closer. I would lean towards the regular user's standpoint, because you have to understand the main purpose of the facility. I completely understand the celebrity's point of view and where the fans are coming from. Like they want to see their favorite stars in person. But the building is made for airport, and airport, like I just mentioned, on top of what I just mentioned, it's also a very time-sensitive facility. So if you consider all that, I think the regular passengers' convenience should come before the star's spotlight or the fans' willingness to see the stars.
Right, because these airport consumers, passengers, they paid for their tickets. And also, this is not only involving the safety of the passengers, but also the fans as well.
Absolutely.
Then I also want to ask you, Kyun, what could be some other potential risks that could arise from this overcrowding situation?
So another issue that arises with crowds gathering at these airports is the buying and selling of flight information. So the exposure of departure and arrival details has led to fans crowding at the airport and even boarding the same flights, sitting very close to their celebrities, secretly filming them.
I think I've seen some photos and footage online
I've seen them as well, and trying to like make contact with them as well. And this obviously invades privacy. And recently, several individuals who were involved in leaking such information have been apprehended and expected to be prosecuted for violating the Information and Communications Network Act. And some have even criticized entertainment and agencies for even leaking flight times, unofficially, of course, to fans, so that they would actually gather at the airport to take all these up-close pictures, high-definition pictures with their, what is it called? Like in Korean, it's called 대포 camera. So it's not bazooka cameras.
It's telephoto.
Telephoto lens, optical lens cameras to take really good pictures. And what these fans do is they actually sell it to other fans in a small community. obviously, receiving money. And they even make little photo cards and sell them as well.
Which is a very popular merchandise.
It is.
Right.
It's part of merchandise as well. But I think agencies know exactly what they're doing, because when crowds gather, they take high quality pictures of like their favorite celebrities in their casual outfits, and this can become very viral, and it can also become a source of income for some fans.
Which is why we're seeing this going on and on.
Right.
So it's concerning both in terms of safety and privacy, which is a reason why this issue has been sparking debate for years here in Korea now. So Kyun, I want to ask you, have any safety protocols or preventative systems been put in place to really deal with this crowd control challenges?
Unfortunately, no effective countermeasures are currently in place. As these issues have persisted, Incheon International Airport announced last year that it would introduce a separate departure gate for celebrities.
Right.
However, it was later revealed that this plan involved allowing celebrities to use priority exit for transportation vulnerable individuals. And obviously, this move faced a lot of backlash for being giving excessive privilege for celebrities.
Being unfair, some people say.
And it was unfair, of course, and it was withdrawn immediately. And additionally, there is another service called Fast Track Service, where people, actually in many large international airports, they allow passengers who actually pay an extra amount on top, or passengers who use business class or higher, to use this service, Fast Track Service, so they don't have to wait in line. But unfortunately, according to data from Incheon International Airport, as of 2019, the only airport among the world's top 30 airports by passenger volume, Incheon Airport was the only airport that actually didn't offer this service.
Really?
So I think this could be a very good time for Incheon Airport to implement this service, not only for celebrities, but for people who are actually willing to pay extra to receive this kind of service, because it saves them time, it's very convenient, and obviously if we have this system implemented, we'll see less of this kind of crowd trouble that affect the public as well.
That could be a possible solution, and we'll talk about more potential solutions in the later part of the show. But first of all, as Kyung mentioned, one of the most talked about proposals last year was building a separate gate exclusively for celebrities to avoid bottlenecks. Now, though the idea was eventually scrapped, it stirred quite a conversation here in Korea and in other parts of the world. So to get a sense of how the public feels, we ran a poll on our Arirang YouTube channel asking if people support the idea of a separate celebrity-only gate. If we look at the results, 57% disagreed, while 43% said yes to the idea. And we're also going to read 3 comments we received. Our first comment for this Friday is by Cappuccino438. Airports are public facilities, not private properties. They shouldn't operate for the convenience or benefit of certain individuals like celebrities. Hannah Hirano says allowing celebrities to use a private airport entrance could help ensure their safety by helping them avoid large crowds and unnecessary attention. On the flip side, it could reinforce the perception that celebrities live in a separate, privileged world. Our final comment is by the King's Kid F4R. There is also the issue of stalkers, criminals, or terrorists who may target the celebrities or the crowds themselves. Now, this kind of airport chaos, is it something that only happens here in Korea? We'll get the answer to that question after the break when we connect with a legal expert.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
We're now going to welcome Yoon Sok-jun, partner at the Peter & Kim Law Firm. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Yoon.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. So we'd first like to ask you, are similar airport crowd issues related to public figures a hot topic in other countries as well? And if so, we also want to ask you, how are those situations typically managed?
Yes, also in foreign countries, the arrival at and departure from the airport of public figures, such as celebrities, often cause issues due to crowds of fans, resulting in inconvenience for or sometimes harm to other passengers. For example, when sports stars return to their home country, the welcoming crowd occupy the arrival hall for extended periods of time, hindering other passengers' access and if severe, threatening other passengers' safety. Similarly, fans gathering to see off celebrities pushed other passengers or obstructed access to check-in counters. These are all incidents that have actually occurred in places like Japan and Thailand. That said, in Korea, the situations look more severe due to stronger fandom culture and the use of celebrities' so-called airport fashion or 공항 fashion, as mentioned earlier, and their arrivals and departures as promotional opportunities by entertainment agencies and fashion brands. On top of it, recently some YouTubers who took advantage of such scenes as broadcast contents have further increased fan gatherings, exacerbating the problem. To prevent any undesirable incidents under the circumstances, some countries take measures such as having celebrities use separate security lanes, also as mentioned earlier, from other passengers, not disseminating information about their airport arrival and departure, or designating specific areas in the airport for fans to wait. In places like the UK and the US, even separate VIP terminals are sometimes operated.
Well, thank you for giving us the overview about the situation, sir. Now, we've seen some cases where bodyguards were criticized for getting very physical while trying to protect their celebrities. From a legal standpoint, could that kind of action lead to legal punishment?
Yes, of course. If a bodyguard uses language towards other passengers that is too harsh or violent, it may constitute a crime of threat. If the bodyguard uses physical force, such as pushing or even topple a passenger, it could be considered as assault. If the victim is injured as the result, depending on what was the intent of the aggressor, it could constitute negligent injury or even intentional injury. Additionally, if the bodyguard, in an attempt to prevent other passengers from approaching the celebrity, arbitrarily controls airport access doors or stops the operation of elevators or escalators, this could lead to a crime of obstruction of business from the perspective of the airport. If they use threats or physical forces to interfere with other passengers' use of airport facilities such as lounges, they may be charged with coercion. However, there is a special law governing the bodyguard industry, which is called the Security Services Act or 경비업법. And in practice, the two crimes just mentioned are punished as a violation of that law. So to summarize, in terms of maximum penalties, violation of that Security Services Act are punished by an imprisonment of up to 1 year or a fine of up to 10 million won. Other crimes are punishable more severely, and in case of intentional injury, for example, the maximum punishment is an imprisonment of up to 7 years.
Well, thank you for that explanation. What legal frameworks or solutions do you think could help relieve these tensions and improve safety for both fans and public figures?
Yeah, when a large number of fans gather, the airport or police should be able to actively manage the situation under control and take measures to maintain order. Following the controversy surrounding a famous actor's departure last year, perhaps the one you just mentioned, Incheon International Airport reportedly introduced a specific manual and established detailed response guidelines. In the case of accidents caused by failure to comply with the control measures, it is also important to investigate the cause and hold the person accountable and legally liable, whether it be the bodyguards or the fans. Also, like in other countries, having celebrities use exclusive security lanes to separate them from other passengers could be considered. However, there is still strong criticism that such measures would be unfair privileges for celebrities. Using an entirely separate terminal also appears yet limited, given that most celebrities do not use private jets in Korea. Therefore, under the circumstances, the best solution would be to prevent situations of tension from occurring in the first place. While airports do serve as a place to welcome and see people off, and thus completely banning fan gatherings may be unrealistic, certain legal measures could be introduced and enforced to reduce large fan gatherings. For example, like in Hawaii, where commercial photography and videography is prohibited at airports, or in Singapore, where fans are prevented from entering the airside without an actual purpose of travel, similar laws could be adopted to prevent extreme size of fans gathering and approaching the celebrities.
Mr. Yoon Seok-chun, partner at Peter & Kim, thank you so much for your legal insights today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, so as we mentioned throughout our episode today, Korea has been wrestling with this issue for years now, and despite many conversations, there's yet to be a proper solution. So ending off our episode today, what do you think could be a practical solution?
It's it's a very tricky situation,
Right.
honestly. Like I feel like it's a very it's a gray zone for official policies or regulations to actually kick in. And I think it comes more down to the ethics and the personal responsibility of fans and celebrities themselves. I definitely do understand where they're getting from, where they're coming from. Like getting public exposure is important, if not it's the key to their popularity in Korea. But the airport is a special case. It's a facility that is used by everyone. And like I mentioned earlier, like we all mentioned earlier, it's a very time-sensitive facility.
Of
So
course.
people have to board on the plane, and I think that definitely must be the priority. I think a lot of people say that the airport could do a bit of a better job at regulating these appointments where celebrities use the airport. However, I'm sure they do have their own reasons, valid reasons at their end. One recommendation that I have is that celebrities could really communicate with their fans in advance or kind of persuade them to be not too extra or to not cause too much noise or attention at the airport. So I think communication between the fans and the celebrities could be a solution, a soft solution.
And I think it could also involve security guards because some have been saying that they've gone too physical, which
Yes.
have led to more controversies too. So this is something that we could also
Yeah,
keep
they
in
should
mind.
definitely be a little bit more gentle.
Right, right. What about you, Yoon? What do you think?
I agree with both Wonbin and Mr. Yoon. Taking into account what other countries are doing, implementing the measures they're taking, if it's effective, I think Korea can do a same job or at least a similar job. And I think what you said, increasing security personnel could also help because sometimes we don't see enough security personnel compared to the number of fans that have actually gathered. So like they lack in number, obviously, and power and authority, and that's why sometimes they can get very physical
Right,
and verbal,
aggressive. Right,
and
right.
aggressive as well. And that in turn can be turned viral, and then they can receive all the backlash saying, you know, why are security guards so violent? You know, when they're meant to be, when they're meant to protect the people. And I also, when I was listening to the expert, I was also thinking if we can limit the number of crowd that can actually turn up to the airport, set numbers, I think that could be a better way of managing the crowd because there are no limits. People just gather all at once
Right,
and they just
right.
rampage through each other when they see the celebrity coming out of the vans or coming out from the arrival gates. Yeah, so I think if they can control the number of people, I'm sure the security guards can have better control of the crowd, and the celebrities, of course, can be a bit more responsible and tell the fans, please keep low key because even though they're there to actually, you know, get publicized, I think if they're causing a lot of harm to the public, as public figures, I think they should be a bit more responsible and respect the other people, especially because it's the airport where everyone can use it and everyone should be very allowed to use all the facilities on their own right. So I think it's a tricky issue, but if everyone works together, I'm sure this will get solved in the long run.
Right, and I think no celebrity would want their fans to get hurt as well.
Exactly.
So a lot of solutions to explore. Now that's all we have for today, but Newsden will be back next Monday at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks to Lee Won-bin.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, and Park Hyun.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, and to our viewers, thank you for your time, and we'll be waiting for you here, same time next Monday. We are News
News
Generation.
Generation.